Okay, here's another League of Legends game coming your way, this time with Fiddlesticks in the jungle, and I'm providing this post-game commentary. As you can tell, I was hovering Vi, that's who I was considering, and I will put out a disclaimer, I'm going to jump to live commentary shortly after we jump to the loading screen, and then a couple minutes into the game, I'm going to come back into post-game. So I was considering Vi because the mid laner did not lock in a character at the time, so I was thinking, well, we'll have an AP carry mid. As a result, I can go Vi, and instead it's Talon mid because he wants to try out the new Duskblade or whatever it's called, so we need an AP carry, which brings us to Fiddle. So I'm going to explain the masteries here. I mentioned the runes while the game is going. I found out that you actually can't see my runes when I hover over it, so I have to actually verbally tell you what it is. But anyway, Kalista and Sej are going to be on the enemy team. I'm going to lock in the Fiddle. My team gets the picks that they have, and then it's also Diana, Tom Kench, and Morgana. So I picked up Surprise Party Fiddles during the Legendary Snowball event. That does mean I have another skin, and I don't know when that one will be making its appearance, but we'll see. As for Jhin, this is going to be the first game where I've seen one in the bot lane actually win the lane. Now, if you're not aware, he has a pretty bad win rate, and usually going mid is asking for a loss. So masteries, if you look, I have Wanderer equipped instead of Savagery. I don't know how Savagery impacts trade, if it adds 5 on each tick or whatever, but the important thing is, Fiddle has enough single target clear to where you don't have to worry about Savagery. So you're better off taking Wanderer, that way you can get from camp to camp more easily or get in position to ult. And you'll see a few times where that Wanderer makes a huge impact this game. Runic Affinity, so I have buffs for longer, then I have Merciless for Execute Effect, and Dangerous Game, so when I ult in, I last a little bit longer. That too will save me here, you'll see. As for the other tree, I have the Ability Power Amp, then I have Double-Edged Sword for more damage, 2% since I'm ranged, sucks, I know. Then I have Natural Talent equipped for more AD and more AP. Fiddle has enough sustain through his drain to not worry about Vampirism. Then I have the Magic Penetration. I'll explain that once the live comm ends. And then I'll also explain the Deathfire Touch. So we're going to be jumping to live shortly, and I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Okay, I'll talk from here. I don't know how Jhin works precisely to know if this keystone is any good on him. That's what I'd expect on a Talon. I'm not so sure on a Darius, but if he can stick to Kench, then yeah, that will really do a number on Kench. As for the gank potential, top lane is the highest, hands down. Even though Kench has that really annoying shield, if we can CC him and then just lay into him, basically my fear will hold him down while Darius stacks up the hemorrhage. We might be able to get some kills there. There is some gank potential mid since Diana is fairly immobile. We'll have to see how it plays out. But for this side of the jungle, I am going to be low mana by the time I reach the blue buff. I'm going to still start down here. And I forgot to, well, I didn't forget, I couldn't activate the mic in time. My rune page are AP Quints, Hybrid Pen Marks, Scaling Armor Yellows, 6 Scaling MR Blues with 3 Scaling CDR Blues. So I do have a little bit, but it's not going to be a lot until I start stacking items. I'm going to be going for Lucid Boots so I can flash more often. It's also going to give me more CDR for Crowstorm and my other spells. And it looks like I'm up against a troll team. Well, I have a troll team, it looks like. So, a ward and a summoner down. Sadly, as a result of that, I'm not going to bother top. If we force Kench out, he's just going to teleport back. Even if Darius gets banged up, Darius is screwed. He's pretty much in a situation where he has to snowball or he's done. Hey, invade, what do you know? don't know what that was exactly. And you know what, I'd rather just do post-game commentary from here, so I'm gonna mute the mic. And with that, we're back. So, to explain why I want the magic penetration, Fiddle has a crappy passive, but it lowers the enemy's MR by 10 when you deal magic damage. In the grand scheme of things, that's a very inconsequential number, and I kind of wish it would ramp up to at least 20 because Amumu's is better. Tad depressing since Fiddle is more magic damage oriented than the Mummy, but who knows. It's Riot for you. So, with the way that penetration has changed, I believe both the Void Staff and the Last Whisper will only affect bonus of the defensive stats. And as such, I'm thinking, if this theory is correct, Void Staff is actually not worth getting on Fiddle, even as a final item. If you're going to pick up Abyssal Scepter, that's going to give a 20 MR reduction, which will offset any sort of Aegis item that's built. Now you have your passive to give you a further 10 reduction. I'm running Hybrid Pen Marks, so I get an additional 5 from that, and then I get the flat 7% from the Mastery. And if I'm correct in this, you should do a comparable, if not better, amount of damage depending on how much MR the enemy actually builds. Since MR is a pretty neglected stat, most guys will only get a single one. In that case, I should be correct with the Abyssal being just as good, if not better, since it's a flat amount instead of a percentage of a small number. As for the Deathfire Touch versus Thunderlords, this comes down to the whole teamfight angle. So, Thunderlords gives you a nice chunk of burst, yes, but the huge drawback to it, of course, is that that only affects a single person. Fiddle with his Crowstorm wants to jump into the enemy team, and if you have Thunderlords, you can only use your Keystone on a single guy, but if you have Deathfire Touch, you can proc that on every unfortunate SOB inside of your ult. Now, since the area of effect only lasts half as long, but the thing is, it refreshes itself because it keeps ticking if the enemy can't get out. And if you can keep the enemy in there long enough, or at least just keep 2 enemies there for half the duration, it'll surpass Thunderlords once you have enough AP. To make things even worse, you can actually get some flash kills of sorts. What I'm talking about is you can throw your E, you hit them, they flash away with 10 hit points thinking they're safe, and then they die to Deathfire Touch. As a result, you get the kill and their summoner spell. And you'd be surprised how often this happens. Sadly, it does not happen in this game, but I have gotten kills with Deathfire Touch, even after they flash away before. So it can be kind of hilarious. So right here I'm going to go ahead and grab the sweeper so that I don't forget, because that's one of the things that happens way too often when I play Fiddle. And I will swap it out for the other one later, but in the meantime I have to make do with this one since I'm only level 4. Yeah, 4. So the next order of business is... I should point out Darius, I don't remember what his rank is, but the Tom Kench is a diamond player. Talon in the mid lane is also diamond. So, even after so long, these guys are still popping up in my games. Kinda thought my MMR would have deteriorated after months of inactivity, but I genuinely don't know what's going on anymore. So right here, Diana has come to the realization that she's not going to get anything off Talon. And she makes the correct call to start roaming to try to salvage things. The downside is Talon is getting free farm, so it's not going completely to waste. And the other part is I'm going to be sticking to him and a couple teammates like glue this game. I'm not going to have an impressive number of kills, but I'm going to have a freaking insane number of assists. You'll see the damage stats at the end of the game, but for the meantime, I should point out what I'm trying to do, if you haven't noticed, is I want to get the drain going on the big minion, and then while I wait for it to come off cooldown, I want to auto these small ones. Due to the lingering burn that comes from the talisman and then your actual jungle item, you can kill the enemies with just the residual damage. And as a result, you can speed up your clear by a few seconds by having the burn take effect while you do the next channel drain. And it's just small things like that that can add up if you get enough time. Like that. You saw how I killed the small one without actually auto-attacking it at the end because lingering burn. Now I am going to do some counter jungling here. They saw me, so I wasn't really anticipating the gank to turn out. And if this is what I remember, you'll see how Kench is still worthy of a ban, I'd say. So right here I went ahead and did my Fear and Drain. And he should not be able to break my Drain if he tries to eat me. But the thing is, he just has ridiculous amounts of damage for building tank. Like, his W is something like 1/3 of your health, because it's a percentage. It makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. And that's pretty much what starts to put Kench back into the game. Unfortunately for him, he's going to stack the armor, so you can kind of guess how his story ends. At the business end of a crow storm, yes. So right here I don't have enough mana regen yet, so ultimately I just decided to give it the bird, finish it with auto attacks, and I can recall and get topped off in the fountain. I'm going for Runic Echoes, and whether or not it's a good item for Fiddle is kind of up for debate. It is better than the Rune Glaive, yes. Is it better than the Spectral Wraith? That I'm not so sure about.
The end is near.
So the nice things that it does give you are AP, self-explanatory, but it gives you movement speed instead of mana or anything else. Now the good thing about movement speed is that you're more mobile, so you can keep enemies inside of your crow storm. Basically just run alongside them and you're in business. In some cases, you actually can be faster than the enemies, especially once you have your tier 2 boots. And as a result, they pretty much have to either burn a summoner spell or sit there and take the entire duration of it, plus the lingering Deathfire touch, as well as any other spells or smites that I throw in as we go. Now, the thing that sucks about it is, you can see right there, Drain is a channel. As a result, Fiddle is pretty stationary when he clears. That means you actually can't charge it that well. In case you're wondering, the channel of Drain is only worth a flat 10, just like any other spell. So, you're not going to be using it too often in the jungle, sadly. It's nice that it can give you mana when it pops, but that's one of the big drawbacks to it. The advantage, on the other hand, is it will generate stacks while you're running alongside an enemy in Crow Storm, and you can ultimately get maybe 2 of the Luden procs to go off, and while the Echoes does do less damage than the actual Ludens, the other side is, since you're getting 2 procs, you might surpass it in that way. Anyway, right here I'm turning off Crow Storm from Smartcast because generally well, the way it's set up is if you try to cast it outside of Fiddle's range, he will walk out of cover wherever else he is, potentially ult wide, or start channeling his ult wide open, completely defenseless, and as a result, if you get hit, CC'd, all that stuff, you could be out your ult. So that's why I think taking his ult off of Smartcast may be a good idea. People have asked Riot to disable that, just cast from wherever you're at when you try to activate it while it's on Smartcast, but Riot hasn't gotten around to doing it. It's on their to-do list with like a million other things that they aren't too cheap to hire the staff to actually do. Anyway, right here I should have been attacking the small minions, that way I could get the lingering burn to finish them off like that. As a result, I wasted probably a second and a half in trying to auto them after the fact. Right here, you get to see the teamwork between me and Talon that's probably going to define this video. So he inflicted the slow, and right here I'm going to tank tower. I got the silence going, and I wasn't sure which way he was going, so I tanked it as long as I could because I know I can just walk off and drain. So he gets a kill, that sets Diana further back, and all in all, net for our team because we also get an assist to go with it. So while I didn't get the full 300, the important thing is I still got a respectable chunk of gold and set the enemy mid laner back. Now, as for Jhin, my big criticism for him is that Riot has developed an AD carry that has two things that don't make sense. For one, since he's immobile, like Cog, Ashe, and Varus, a few others, he pretty much has to stand his ground once the enemies are on top of him. Basically, he has to kill them before they kill him. Now, he unfortunately can't stand his ground because he has 4 shots before he has to reload. So there's this massive conflict there, and until Riot does something to resolve that, I don't think he'll be a serious AD carry pick. The winning games he has are going to be few and far between or inconsistent. Unless the pros can find something that works, that's my take on him.
An enemy has been slain.
I don't own him in case you're wondering, and I'm in no rush to pick him up. So right here I am contemplating making a play for the dragon. But the downside is I don't actually have an Echo yet. I'm a little bit light on AP, so if I want to try to take it, I'm going to be sitting there for some time. But I can go ahead and go back. I can pick up another Amp Tome, which is going to become a Zonia's, in case you're wondering. I now have my Echoes, I have my Lucid Boots. And if you're wondering why Lucid Boots, one, it gives you CDR, so more spells and all that, but it also lowers the cooldown of your flash, so you can flash into fights more often, or even save teammates. In case you're wondering, I will be doing flash saves this game. This is going to be a close one of sorts. Now right here, this is going to go bad because I thought Callista had used her ult. Since she didn't, Morg just hops to safety through that, and I'm out my ult. But I can go ahead and pick up a couple last hits there for a little bit of gold for my trouble. And the thing is, losing Crowstorm, I should say, like that isn't exactly too much of an issue because I don't really have a lot of places to gank. For mid lane, Talon is just crushing Diana so soundly, there really isn't much for me over there. And as for top, that thing keeps going back and forth, and I will try to gank there, and you'll see it's kind of a waste of time. Kench has just too many things in his moveset, and it's just way too overloaded. So right here is going to be my first death. I was thinking I could probably sit here and drain her to death, and if not for Diana, I might have been able to do that, but she showed up. So yes, I will say it took 3 of them to take me down. My win. And of course, Sej and I makes the not-so-wise choice of rushing Talon like that, which costs her life and gives me an assist. Meanwhile, Morg has to burn her summoner spells just to survive Talon. So I went ahead and got the cloth armor there. I'm going to swap out my sweeper. And you can see Talon got shut down, which kind of sucks. Now right here I want to race up here to try to save Darius, because if Kench is proxy farming, we can punish him hard. The problem is, they're going to kill each other when I get here. So in case you're wondering, it's the hemorrhage that's going to kill him. Here I am thinking, okay, throw the bird, I win, but nope, he died. So as a result, that was an even trade. Neither side got assists, and just keep moving. That's all it comes down to. So in the meantime, I want to keep farming, that way I don't fall behind. More gold for more items, more EXP for higher moves, as well as all my scaling stuff ramping up. I'm trying to remember, I think Natural Talent is something like 15 AP at level 18, so you're getting a little bit less than 1 per level, and that 1 may not matter too much in the grand scheme, but enemies will survive with just 1 hit point from time to time, and that 1 could make a difference.
Double kill.
I will admit it's not often, but it could be times. So right here, I wanted to try to save him. Unfortunately, I was just a tad too slow. Diana, on the other hand, decides to sit here and try to fight me, which not the wisest moves. So while she does have a lot of damage, the thing is she only has her E to interrupt my drain. And if she can't interrupt that, there's really no hope for her. She has to either burst me down through it, ignite me to inflict grievous wounds, or die. It's kind of it. In case you're wondering, I believe she will use her E to interrupt my drain a couple times. I don't know if it actually has too much of an impact, we'll see. So one thing I should talk about is for Fiddle, he's not quite like all of the other junglers. Here I'm giving the red buff to Talon since he's doing pretty well. For Fiddle, the single most valuable smite buff for him is the chickens. Since he's all about jumping out of the middle of nowhere and ruining people's day, he can't quite make use of the Gromp buff here, which stuns things like Nocturne and a few other auto-attackers. Jhin, for example, comes to mind. He can't quite use the damage reflection that comes from the Toadstool buff, such as Zac, Nautilus, Rammus, and so on. Since he's all about surprise, it's pretty much chicken or nothing. So on that back, I didn't get any assists or kills, but I still had enough gold to go ahead and finish my Seekers. You can see it's back to its original recipe, 2 cloth armors, 1 amp tome, as well as the needlessly large rod. And here's one of those awkward saves. So Sej to the rescue, except not. And then I fear her into the tower. Would have been nice if I could have gotten an assist off of Diana, but yeah. So I have to make the most of my skin, hence the surprise. And with both of them out of the way, we can see the enemy team on the map. That means mid tower's toast. So Talon with all of his AD is kind of bursting this down, but he also has the red buff for a lingering burn, and I have the blue buff just in case something shows up. I can get all my spells off and probably a couple rotations of them with that. But Sejuani, I have to say, is probably one of the weakest junglers at the moment, and I make it even worse for her just through this harsh counter-jungling. Unfortunately, here's where Kench is going to kill both of us, because of the way his Devour works. Such a stupid move. Plus, there's also the issue of my mouse isn't quite working correctly. I went ahead and ordered a new one, and this will probably be the only game until I actually get it. I was playing something special for Valentine's, but it's not materializing. I'll probably do it after the fact. So right here, had he not devoured Darius, he would have been dead. As a result, he gets the double kill. And one of Riot's big buzzwords is counterplay, counterplay, counterplay. There's shit you can do against Tahm Kench's Devour. It's pretty much don't get devoured. To make things worse, you can't really kite him because his Q is a really, really strong slow. He's actually pretty mobile for a melee. He probably should actually be around Mordekaiser levels of immobility when he's like that. But it's Riot's balancing team for you. So I'm going to get the Abyssal as I said earlier, but right here I figure, you know what, I'd rather go for blood. Go big or go home. So Blasting Wand. Now yes, that is going to delay my Zonias, but I'm also realistically thinking I'm not coming back before I get the 10,050 gold, or the 1050 gold for the Zonias. So I'd rather spend some gold right now to get an item to help me get more gold. Blasting Wand is going to speed up my clears, and from there I might be able to get kills, but still, the faster clears will make that pay for itself soon enough. I'm pretty sure on the next back I actually will have enough gold for both the Zonias and the Negatron. Sadly, it's going to be a little short of the Abyssal. But right there you can see I use Drain to burn down the big one, and then I use the Crows to finish off the job. Dark Wind has been buffed since I last put up a Fiddle video. the cost of it has been reduced so that you can spam it a bit more often. It's not quite good enough for you to actually take Fiddle back into the mid lane, but it's something, I guess. So right here I throw the bird, that way they're silenced. I also distract them a bit to give Talon some breathing room. And right here is the moment you've been waiting for, when I hop the Baron wall and make them pay, just like the song goes. So I killed Diana, he killed Morg.
An enemy has been slain.
Surprise! You didn't even have to say my name 3 times. And you can see Talon's having a good time with it.
An enemy has been slain.
And there goes Mista. Now I thought she took a little bit of damage in the Crow Storm, but maybe not. Maybe that was something else like Kench there. Okay, the next bullshit part about Tahm Kench is that shield. So there's no cap on it. He can wait until he has like 1 hit point left, and then he gets pretty much double his health for something like 4 to 6 seconds. What the hell is Riot thinking when it comes to that character? I will admit, due to all these things that make him so freaking overloaded, he's fun to play, but he's easily the most unbalanced character in the game at the moment. At least in the overpowering sense, because let's face it, Urgot is still a thing.
The end is near.
They went through all the hassle of buffing him up, he became popular, and a couple nerfs later, he falls back off the face of the earth. So right here I was too busy paying attention to my flash to actually realize the dragon wasn't standing yet. I wanted to have my back to the wall, that way I could flash over it in case someone shows up. But you can see my team actually has the area pretty secure, and that won't be happening. Instead, I will have a little bit of a skirmish with Morgana, but nothing's going to come of it.
Ally has been slain.
So, AD carries are dead. They get assists, so they came out ahead. They also got our support, put them even further ahead, but we got our second dragon. That's what really counts. So I did want to drain her, she's just a little bit outside of range, sadly.
To our end.
But, wait for it. There's Talon, you can see Darius just went down. Surprise! So they're trying to ping me to go chase or something, but I'm not abandoning Talon. So right there is the BS shield. And he hops to safety with Morgana's help. Right here is one of those moments where my mouse is not behaving. As a result, I would have died if not for Nautilus. But instead, we just killed Callisto, so works for me. Now I can go over here, drain back up to health. You can see I procced the Runic Echoes to get mana back, even though that drain actually cost me everything I had. So if you look at my gold, I have enough to finish my Zonias or my Abyssal, and since Zonias is more important, I'm going to go ahead and grab that. But you can see I almost have them both.
Yes, my master.
Had I been willing to go farm a bit more, I probably could have gotten them both. It's just, I wanted to heal up and get ready for the next potential fight. Granted, I'm not going to have my ult for 40 seconds, it's just I wanted to be prepared. And you can see how fast Fiddle can clear these once he has his items. It's like night and day compared to earlier, huh? Didn't mean to attack it, but it really doesn't matter since I'm not trying to take it.
Has been slain.
And here's one more of those awkward moments. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop my Zonias here to dodge the damage from Morgana ult. But in the end, we still killed both of them, and like I said, I get assists this game, not kills. So I got one for Diana, one from Sej, and just like that, I can partner up with a Jhin now and focus down the mid. And hit the top of this. Now right here, I honestly didn't care to get off the Tormented Soil. She's the support, she's not that far ahead, well, she's not even ahead. As a result, her damage is really, really insignificant. So yes, it's that cockiness I do show from time to time, but in reality, she wasn't doing
Team has
crap.
destroyed a turret.
Like usual, you want to deny the jungler as much as possible, that's why I'm going to go ahead and take the red. Would have been better if I could have given that to Talon, Darius, or Jhin, but in the end, I'm satisfied with the way that happened. So right here, we don't have vision, but 4 of them are going to collapse. I think Darius gets away, but I don't. Yeah, right there she used her E to interrupt the drain. I was still pretty much dead, it's just how much time I could have bought for Darius or the others to get away. You can see Talon bad modes it, jumps right in the middle of the fight. Sej goes down in time to give me an assist. Jhin goes ahead and executes Diana, but there was nothing for me there because I hit her. Then Talon goes bad mode again. And it cost them 4 people to kill me. They really can't afford to keep doing that. So I went ahead and picked up another needlessly large rod. This is for a Rylai's. I have the Oppression Mastery where I deal bonus damage to enemies that are CC'd. As I currently am for Fiddle, I only deal that damage if I auto-attack someone to apply a red buff, or I fear them. If I pick a Rylai's up, then that's an extra 2.5% damage to every victim of the Crow Storm, and if they don't get out fast enough, that thing adds up fast. But check it out, 1 drain was enough to kill the buff. And my AP is only going to be going higher from here.
Your team has destroyed an inhibitor.
So mid goes down. Unfortunately, that was a minion who got it. So there was no little 20 gold or whatever that comes from killing those to my team. And right here, I'm trying to get in position to help Talon and Darius. Right there, you can see Kench's BS slow. So right there, Kench has to do a flash save. I go ahead and fear Sej to get the kill. I slowed Kench, but unfortunately he got out of range of Darius' pull in time. Still, I feared again. Bonus points for trying Jhin. On paper, his ult is pretty cool, and that's actually more of a sniper fantasy than Xerath, I'd say. But whole 4 thing is starting to add up, and it's not adding up in his favor. In case you're wondering, the first 3 shots aren't as powerful as the 4th, and you've pretty much forfeit any sort of element of surprise by them. Anyway, right here I used the fear to buy me enough time to fully channel my drain, pretty much. That way I got to maximize my damage against her. She can only interrupt it near the tail end when it was ready to go up again. Unfortunately for her, she needs either cleanse or QSS because I can do a number on her. I didn't quite get to read that, but I don't think she had any form of MR. So with both the Abyssal and my passive, as well as the whole 7% and the marks, her MR pretty much vanished. I should have been dealing almost true damage there. In the meantime, without anyone here to contest, it's pretty much my dragon. And it's not really worth the smite if there's no steel thread. Here's my next death, I think, when I tried to be a friend. So right here you can see Sejuani is melting the Crow Storm. If I just tried to tank it instead of zone using, I probably would have killed her and then Talon would have gotten this stuff. The important thing is, Kench is the real dangerous one. Okay, you got close to anyway. Still, Diana gets him, they get the shutdown bonus, and then she gets dunked. Giant spell, so I'm a little bit tankier. And it's still another step towards my Rylai's. So right here I'm trying to figure out, do they have any MR? And long story short is no, not really. Morgana will eventually get an Aegis. She doesn't actually build that in anything because the game will end. Like I said, the Abyssal offsets that, so it's not like that's going to really make a difference for them. With my passive and everything else, they need a more solid MR item. Now, since Diana was up against an AD character, that would explain why she doesn't have an Abyssal just yet. She was too busy trying to survive, so she went for the armor route, and as such, she's a sitting duck to me. Unfortunately, Kench went through the exact same thing, so he's pretty much in the same boat. Now, right here, I'm not as much of a friend to give that up to Jhin. That's my blue. Darius will take one of ours, so... But just like that, we found 4 of their blue wards, and unfortunately right here I didn't notice Jhin was jumping. So right there I feared Kench, that way the black shield didn't really matter. And if Sej and I engaged, she would have been a dead duck. I would have activated Drain, she would have had no way to interrupt that without her ult, and it would have been a dead boar on a boar. Now, I don't know if there's a limit to how many of those visible wards the enemy team can have, but I'm picking them up where I can get them. And here comes the next Crow Storm. In case you're wondering, there's going to be 3 of them here shortly. So right here, Talon is falling back, that way they only see Darius. I swept the area so I know they don't see me. But here we go, they see me now, they're trying to pull off. Sej is down, and it's only going to be worse for me. So I did some draining on Kench, I went in through the bird. And now since he eats Darius, the Deathfire Touch pulls the tower aggro on him. And if you look at how much damage I take, that did 2100. That's actually more health than I have. So if not for the dangerous game as well as the health I siphoned through Drain, I would have died there. That would have been enough to take me from 100 to 0. Now right here, don't leave your buddies hanging. Now unfortunately there's nothing I do for him here. He's toast. But the important thing is, Kench had to pay the price to kill Talon. And here's going to be another flash save shortly, but right now I want to go over to the golems, drain those for health, and ideally I wanted to recall so I can buy my Rylai's, get ready for my death cap and all that, but Jhin needs help. Now, Sej and I made the mistake of re-engaging here. If she had just walked away, she would have been fine. Since she went back in, she died. And that's a kill for Jhin, so our AD carry comes out further ahead, just one more assist in my column.
Indeed.
And like that, I can go back, get my Rylai's as well as another needlessly large rod. So if you look at my AP, 444. Fitting that we have Jhin on our team, and I'm a bringer of death. Sadly, since I'm level 17, once I level up that's going to go up. But it was nice while it lasted.
Yes,
In case you're not aware, 4 is a very unlucky number in Oriental cultures, Japanese being one of the ones that comes to mind. There's 2 different ways I know of to say the number 4, one of them being she, which also means death. In case you're wondering some of the whole background to 4, I don't know what the mythological significance of it is, but then again, I don't even know what's so bad about the number 13 in Western cultures. To me, it's all just random crap. Anyway, right here I wanted to try to get to level 18. I figured there was probably a ward there, and I was right. And here comes the next Crow Storm, where you get to watch Kench build. So I ended up eating the spear, but that's not a problem. So while I wait for Drain to come off cooldown, I For someone, like, if you're familiar with how Fiddle works, you're kind of a Fiddle enthusiast, that sounds so wrong. Just the way his spells cycle, interrupting your drain to ult. But they didn't have vision, had to make the most of it, and here's the end of the game. They're going to surrender. So unfortunately I'm too busy trash talking to actually pay attention to take the dragon efficiently. As a result I can't secure it before they surrender. I feel like a moo-moo. I think those are the only two surprise party skins, but I'm not totally sure. You can see the surrender there, and I only got the dragon down to about half. If I had not been screwing around, it would have been close, but I might have been able to make it. Anyway, here comes the endgame screen. You can see my rank and the various stats. In terms of gold, I was a little bit behind Jhin. As for rank, S-. Damage done. I surpassed Jhin, not quite up to Darius level, and Talon just ran away with the game. Damage taken, Darius took the most, followed by me. But I can kind of do that since I just drain as I go. So one last look, but that's it for now. I'm the Hero of Light. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.